Welcome to Gonzo Sports Room. I'm Chris Gonzalez. I'll be your host tonight. Steve couldn't join us here tonight, but I think he's going to call in here in a few minutes. But the last 2 days have been absolutely crazy in the NFL with all the free agency moves. So I figured that we'd start there with that. The New England Patriots. Everybody said last year they were dead. Of course, they didn't make the playoffs. Cam Newton threw like 8 touchdown passes. Well, here the last 2 days in free agency, Bill Belichick has went on a spending spree. They got Jonnu Smith from Tennessee. He's a good tight end. They signed linebacker Matt Judon. He's good. They also got the big signing they got was Hunter Henry from the Chargers. He's a real good tight end, so they're set at the tight end position. And then they brought back Kyle Van Noy too. And they got Jalen Mills. They got picked up a real good nose tackle. They went on a spending spree, which is really unlike the New England Patriots. There's been a lot of teams active in free agency, but the team, my favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts, hasn't done anything other than that they traded for Carson Wentz, which that was announced a few months ago, but was made official today. The Colts did re-sign Marlon Mack, which I was surprised about that because I figured with how good Jonathan Taylor was last year that they probably wouldn't bring Mack back because I thought he was going to want to get paid. But they signed him back on a real cheap deal for like $2 million for a 1-year deal, kind of a prove-it deal of coming back from that injury. And that makes the Colts backfield tough. I mean, now they're going to have Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor. You have Nyheim Hines. I think the Colts need to still try to get a receiver. We need to get a left tackle, which I figure that's what we're going to get in the draft. And then we also need to, in my opinion, get another edge rusher. But moving on from the Colts for now, let's get to some of the other free agency moves that was made. The Green Bay Packers re-signed Aaron Jones on a deal reportedly worth $48 million. New Orleans re-signed Taysom Hill on a 4-year, $140 million deal, but all the years are voidable. They just basically restructured his contract to help with the salary cap. Fitzmagic ended up with Washington on a 1-year, $10 million deal. And from what I hear, he's expected to be their starter for this upcoming season. The Chiefs restructured, they restructured Patrick Mahomes' deal, Kelsey's deal, and Chris Jones' deal, and was able to free up $20 million off the cap. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars have been busy too. They signed Shaquille Griffin. They also signed Philip Dorsett. They signed somebody else, but I can't remember. I'll have to look that up here in a second. The Broncos kept Von Miller. And the New Orleans Saints, like I just said, that they had restructured Taysom Hill's deal, but they also signed Jameis Winston to a 1-year deal. And on the Dan Patrick Show yesterday morning, Sean Payton said that there's going to be a QB competition to see who the starting quarterback is. I think the starting quarterback is going to be Jameis Winston. To me, I don't think Sean Payton wants to take away the different ways that he can use Taysom Hill. When he can put him out as a tight end, put him out in the slot, you can use him as a running back, as a quarterback. I don't think Sean Payton wants to lose that facet of his offense by putting Taysom Hill at quarterback all the time when he has a guy in Jameis Winston that's proven that he can throw the ball for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns in the NFL. He's just had trouble with turnovers. But I think in Sean Payton's system, that if Jameis can just cut his turnovers down in half. Let's see, his last season he was a starter. He threw 32 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. If he could throw 32 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, the Saints are going to be pretty tough, especially with that defense they have. Let's see, what else do we have? what was the next thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, and reported by Diana Rossini of ESPN, the wide receiver market is really bad right now. That's why we haven't seen a lot of the big name receivers come off the market yet, because they're trying to hold out for better money, and it just seems that teams aren't paying that kind of money for a wide receiver. Then let's get to the Chicago Bears. The old Bears. Fans are going crazy. Chicago made a big push to try to get Russell Wilson from the Seahawks. I heard that they met actually at a pro day too to try to get a deal done. It's reported that the Bears offered three first round picks, a third round pick, and 2 starters for Russell Wilson. And Seattle told him that Russell Wilson, they weren't going to trade him at this time. So the Bears end up signing Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, to a 1-year deal, and Chicago fans are going crazy. People are calling for Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy to get fired. Don't get me wrong, I think they should get fired, but I thought they should have got fired before this. Dalton's not a bad quarterback. I don't think Mitchell Trubisky's that bad. I don't think Matt Nagy's a good coach. I think his offense is terrible. He wants to hand the ball off 3 times and do a reverse to try to gain 1 yard instead of just running the ball up the middle on 3rd and 1. He don't want to run the ball. You have Cohen, and he's had some other good running backs, but he just wants to try to throw the ball, and they don't have that kind of weapons on the outside. They have Robinson. If they re-sign him, he's a real good receiver, but other than that, they didn't really have a lot of weapons. John Ross, the speedy wide receiver from the Cincinnati Bengals, he signed a deal with the Giants. I think that's going to help the Giants a whole lot, especially if Saquon Barkley comes back healthy, because Ross is a guy that can stretch the field, makes the defense stay honest, keep the linebackers from creeping in and the safeties creeping in so much, and give Saquon Barkley more room to run. Marvin Jones signed with the Jaguars. That was the other player I was trying to remember that the Jaguars signed. Jacoby Brissett signed a 1-year deal with Miami. I think this is a great move by the Dolphins. You're not real sure what you have in Tua yet. And you bring in a guy that's a veteran guy, that's a good team guy. Everybody says he's a great leader. I mean, I don't think there's a better person for Tua to learn from than Jacoby Brissett. And if Tua was to get hurt, Jacoby Brissett's not a bad option to have as your backup quarterback to bring in. I mean, he's serviceable. I'm a big Colts fan. But I think Jacoby Brissett's a good backup quarterback. I don't think he's a starting quarterback. I don't think his anticipation is good enough. If the receiver ain't wide open, he's not going to throw the ball because he don't want to make a mistake. Kind of like Tyrod Taylor, who also signed. Tyrod Taylor signed with the Houston Texans, which are still saying that they're not going to trade Deshaun Watson, even though he's demanding the trade and said he's not going to play if they don't trade him. And as of right now, the Texans are playing hardball and telling him, "Hey, sit out. We're not trading you. We have no interest in trading you. We plan on you being our starting quarterback." Then the last 2 days, Deshaun Watson, has been accused of a sexual assault. He's had 2 sexual assault civil cases filed on him, one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday, I guess by a former massage therapist. He came out and denied the first allegation. I don't know if he's came out and said anything about the second one yet. If he has, I haven't heard that. He might have. Already said. Oh, and also the Buffalo Bills signed Emmanuel Sanders, which I think is a real good signing for them. They have Stephon Diggs, who can stretch the field. Sanders is a real good possession receiver. Plus, he can still stretch the field, even though he's getting a little older. But he still has speed to him, where he can stretch the field. And but I think they're going to use him more as a possession receiver to help open up things for Stephon Diggs and some of the other weapons that they have. Broncos re-signed Von Miller. It's still rumored that the Broncos reportedly are looking to move on from Drew Lock, but they haven't signed anybody yet. I don't know who they're planning on bringing in. Gronkowski re-signed with the Tampa Bay for a 1-year deal, I think worth like $10 million. He had an offer from the Buffalo Bills, and he turned that down to stay there in New England. He said for here on out, he's only signing 1-year deals. He decided to stay there in Tampa Bay and try to win another Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Excuse me. Let's get back to the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Colts are going to be real good. I really like what Chris Ballard is doing, but I'm kind of disappointed that they haven't really made no moves to try to pick up an left tackle or pick up a pass rush or especially a receiver. That was what I was hoping they'd try to pick up in free agency. You still have Galladay out there. You still have Will Fuller out there. A receiver from San Francisco. I can't think of his name right now. He's still out there. There's still some good players out there. I know they're trying to re-sign our own guys, so I'm hoping they reach a deal with T.Y. Hilton. It'd be nice to keep him with Pittman and some of the other guys we have. Maybe bring in another weapon. It's also rumored that the Colts are in the running to trade for Zach Ertz. The Eagles gave Zach Ertz permission to start looking for a trade. And so he's doing that, and a lot of rumors I'm hearing is saying that they think he's going to end up with the Colts for a couple of reasons. One, him and Carson Wentz are real good friends. Two, he has a good relationship with Frank Reich. And I mean, if the Colts could get Zach Ertz, that'd be another big weapon in our offense. With our offense, especially with you already have Doyle. I think they're going to bring Mo Alley Cox back. So, that gives you 3 solid tight ends. And Ertz already has Wentz is already used to throwing the ball to Ertz. So right there, that gives Wentz somebody he's comfortable with while he's getting transitioned into the Colts coming over from Philadelphia. I'm interested to see what the Colts are going to do at backup quarterback, whether they're going to use Easton as a quarterback, or if they're going to draft a quarterback in the draft. Or I kind of think that they're going to see about maybe getting Alex Smith and bringing him as the backup to Wentz, because, like I said before, he's known at being a good mentor for younger quarterbacks and helping them, teaching them how to be pros. And I mean, he's not a bad quarterback, so if you did have to bring him back up, and you'd be bringing a veteran guy in that can make some plays. I know he's not the same guy he used to be since he's came back from that awful injury he had, but he didn't play terrible this year when Washington put him out in the field. But according to him, Washington didn't even want to play him this year. But I mean, hell, I give the guy all the props in the world to fight back from what he did and come back and play as good as he did. Yeah, I mean, there ain't nothing you can really say about the guy. D'Amico Autry signed with Tennessee. So did Bud Dupree signed with Tennessee. The Titans have been pretty busy here in the first part of free agency, and they've helped their team out a lot. I think Autry's a good defensive lineman. Dupree's a hell of a defensive player. I was surprised that the Steelers let him go. So I really think that they're going to be the Titans. I think are going to be better than what they were last year. The one weakness they need to tighten up is their pass rush. They have to get a pass rush. They really don't have no kind of pass rush. I think they were down at the bottom of the league in sacks last year. And with the offense they have with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, if they could get a pass rush, their defense could get off the field a little more consistently. Tennessee's going to be a tough team to beat. And like I said earlier, everybody's hooting and hollering that New England's back. New England's back. New England's going to the Super Bowl next year. It's going to be it's going to be Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I think everybody needs to slow down a little bit. Yes, they've brought in a lot of guys and some good players, and plus they get a couple key players back that opted out last year because of the COVID. But they still have, as of right now, have Cam Newton at quarterback. And don't get me wrong, when Cam Newton was in Carolina before he started having all these injuries and stuff. Cam Newton was tough. I mean, he's an MVP, led the Panthers to the Super Bowl. But last year in New England, Cam Newton didn't play good at all. He started off the season pretty well, got COVID, came back from COVID, and after that, he didn't play very well at all. I think he threw like 8 total touchdowns for the whole season. But the Patriots signed him back on a like 1-year deal. I think it could be worth up to like $14 million with incentives. But I think if I remember, I heard Michael Lombardi say that like his base salary is like $3 or $4 million a year. So New England got him at a cheap deal, and they're hoping that he'll be able to play better this year. But I'm not going to say that it was all Cam Newton's fault, because he didn't have a whole lot of weapons last year, especially once Walker got hurt. I mean, once he got hurt, he really didn't have no weapons, nobody that could get open, especially could get some separation. And I mean, defenses knew that, so they just started playing the run, and that just made it a lot harder for New England to be able to move the ball. But this year, yeah, he has more weapons. He has this, but I mean, I don't know. There was times last year his throwing motion just didn't look right. I don't know if his shoulder's all the way healthy or if it just didn't heal like they thought it was going to heal. But I wouldn't count on Cam Newton to have a big year this year. He might prove me wrong and go out and have an MVP type year. I mean, that's possible. Do I think it'll happen? I don't. But I mean, hell, anything's fucking possible. Let's see who there was some other NFL news I wanted to cover before we moved on to something else. Like I said, the Jaguars made some moves. It's also rumored that they're probably going to trade Gardner Minshew. I guess there's some teams looking for a backup quarterback that are interested in Minshew. That has made some calls about Minshew, and the Jaguars have been taking calls and seeing what people would offer for him. I already talked about that. Another thing I want to talk about is the Indiana Hoosiers. The Indiana Hoosiers fired Archie Miller yesterday. I like this move. I mean, he's been there 4 years, hasn't made the tournament. And our offense, all 4 years he's been there, has just been so sluggish. I mean, we'll go in spurts where we won't score for 4 or 5 minutes a game and then wonder why we're getting beat. Defense at times, most of the time they play pretty good defense, but the offense is just, for one, they turn the ball over too much. And for two, I don't think they play through Jackson Davis enough. I mean, he's your best player. You gotta get him the ball more and get him involved. He's not a player that can really create his own offense per se. So you need to play inside out, get him the ball in the post. When they double team him, he can kick it out, get some guys some wide open shots. You start knocking down some of them shots, and that's going to open. Then you get the ball to Davis. They're not going to be able to double team. That's going to open him up. They go way too many possessions in a row without Davis touching the ball, and I blame that on the coach. There was somebody, I think it was Brandon the other day, which got people that are familiar with our podcast have seen Brandon on here a couple times. I think it was him that said that players have to make shots, so he felt like it was a lot of the players' faults. I understand that, but the coach has to put the players in the best position to score. And if something isn't working, you got to make adjustments. I mean, we went the whole year doing the same fucking thing, never made any adjustments. Some of these guys that they brought in, the Slanders, for some reason they brought him in a year early, and I think that was a mistake to bring him in early. And he didn't look like he was ready out there. I think he has a lot of potential. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he was ready to come out this year. He should have stayed his last year in high school, and then came on up to Indiana. I think that would have helped him out. he just didn't look like he was strong enough. He just couldn't play the physical style of basketball that they play in the Big Ten. Speaking of basketball, coming tonight we have the first four for the NCAA March Madness tournament, and we'll have them. We have those 4 games this evening. We'll talk about those here in a few minutes. I think Stevie's gonna call in. When he calls in, we'll talk. We'll get back. We'll get into some more college basketball, and maybe ask Stevie who he thinks is going to win this tournament. I'm getting ready to fill out my bracket here, probably after we get done with this show. So I haven't really decided who I'm going with yet, but I'm leaning toward Illinois. Illinois really impressed me in the Big Ten tournament. Big Ten to me is the best conference in college basketball, and I think Illinois, that's a little bit of an advantage to them because they've been tested all season long. Where some of these teams, they play a decent schedule, but they don't play the kind of schedule that you see in the Big Ten. Because I mean, the Big Ten is just so deep that everybody beats on everybody. I mean, hell, look, IU didn't even make the tournament, and they beat Iowa twice. And don't get me wrong, IU didn't deserve to make the tournament. I'm not saying that they beat Iowa twice to try to say that they should be in the tournament, because with all the losses they had and some of the bad losses they had, they shouldn't have been in the tournament. There's no excuse for it. You can't lose that many games, no matter if you did beat one of the number 2 seeds a couple times. You're not going to get in the tournament playing like that. Even though you're in the toughest conference, I understand that, but Indiana they weren't consistent enough. I agreed. I don't think they should have made it. But I am glad that they fucking got rid of Archie Miller. He just, I don't know, something wasn't there. He wasn't connecting with the players. Or maybe his offensive system just sucks. He had success at another college before he came to IU, so I'd like to think that he has a pretty good system. And I don't think it was all the players, because I thought there was some talent on the team. And it wasn't like we got blowed out all the time. IU was in a lot of games, lost a lot of close games. One thing that killed them was free throw shooting. Hell, one game they went like 4 for 15. One game last week, I think it might have been against Rutgers. They had like 15 and 16-point leads twice against Rutgers in 2 different games, and in both games ended up losing. First time they played Rutgers, they was up by 15, and by halftime they were down by 4, ended up losing the game. And then this last time that they played Rutgers last week in the Big Ten conference tournament, they were up by like 11 in the first half. Ended up being up by 2 at halftime. All right. And then after that, they just they just played like shit in the second half, started turning the ball over, and just had a lot of trouble. I don't know. I don't know who they're going to hire. I've heard some rumors. I heard maybe Scott Drew. A lot of people was wanting them to go after Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens came out and said that he's not going to Indiana. He's going to stay with the Celtics. Who he's with now. I've heard a few people mention Dane Fife, who was a former Indiana player. There was a few other names that I've heard too. I thought they should have brought. The rumor was back when they ended up hiring Archie Miller, after they fired Crean. All the stuff you saw was the Hoosiers was going to get Steve Alford, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they hired Archie Miller. So I don't know what happened with that. So I don't know if maybe he'll be interested in it. Maybe that'd be somebody you can try to bring in. I've also heard the name John Beeline, who's used to be Michigan's head coach and has been a successful college coach. He went to the NBA and had trouble connecting with the players there in Cleveland. When he went and tried to coach at Cleveland, he didn't last very long there. Now he's doing some commentating on TV. So that might be another guy that I would say the IU is going to interview. I know they had talked about Richard Pitino, but he's already he got fired from Minnesota, and he's already accepted a job with New Mexico. There was another name I'd been hearing, but I can't can't think of it off the top of my head. Right this second anyway. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. Give me 1 second. I have some other. I know I had some more stuff right here. Okay, here we go. We're going to talk. We'll talk some more NCAA basketball. I was watching some shows on TV today, and they said that Illinois. And this is for all the sports betting people. People like to gamble on sports. I like betting on games. Here we get everything going here with the Gonzalez Sports Room and Gonzalez Sports. We're going to we will actually have a sports gambling show and podcast coming out here before too long. But just to talk about it a little bit, Illinois and Gonzaga were the two most bet teams so far in the tournament. Hold on, that must be Steve. Let's see. Hello?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Sweet.
What's going on, brother?
Now we have Steve G on the phone with us. Not much. I was talking about Illinois and Gonzaga are the two most bet teams so far in the NCAA tournament.
That's who I'm taking.
That's the two teams that everybody's putting money on, and the thing I saw, it was by far. I mean, I forget who the third team was, and the percentage wasn't even close to what those two were at.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I figured some people would have Baylor in there. Baylor was like the 6th or 7th team down.
Oh no, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So everyone's picking Gonzaga or Illinois?
Yep, that's what they said. What forget what show I saw it online. I saw it online that they were the two most bet teams so far.
That's surprising, man. I thought Baylor was one of the, like I said, I was thinking taking either Baylor or Gonzaga, just being them on the same side of the bracket. I figured one of them was gonna make it to the finals, and then if you bet both, I feel like you got pretty good odds of one of those making it to the finals, and you got a chance to hit your money. But
who'd you say, Gonzaga?
I don't know. Baylor and Illinois.
Oh, okay, Baylor. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna put money on both of those teams. It kind of kills my bet because they're on the same side of the bracket, but I think no matter what, one of them are making it. So
you would think, but you never know in this tournament, dude. You see so many upsets.
Man, you never know.
I mean, hell, look at Butler. The first year they made it to the national championship. Hell, nobody thought they'd win probably more than one game, if one game, and made it all the way to the fucking national championship out of nowhere.
And it could be one of those years where a team nobody sees coming makes it, And that's what's so great about the tournament, is that you just never know who's going to make it. Whoever plays hot, plays the best, whoever wants it the most, will make it the furthest. So I'm excited, man.
Well, I'm excited for it too. Got the play-in games later tonight. Then also at 10 o'clock this morning, we will have the NCAA championships for college wrestling start at 10 o'clock in the morning. They're splitting They're splitting the first round up a little bit. So they're 10 starts first round Group A, and then I think it was that 1 starts the first round for Group B, and then there's some more. Then they have some more stuff in the evening. So there's wrestling on from like 10 in the morning till probably about 10 o'clock tomorrow night, dude.
Tomorrow's gonna be a good day, man.
And then on Friday they have the quarterfinals in the morning. And then they have another round in the afternoon, and then Friday evening at I think it was around 7 o'clock is when the semifinals come on. And then then Saturday evening is the finals.
Saturday evening is the finals.
Yep. I think the finals coming on around 6 or 7 Saturday evening, and the semifinals coming at 7 on Friday evening.
Hell yeah, dude.
Plus, you have basketball
Man,
You have basketball starting at like, I think on Friday it starts like at noon, and have games all day long.
What a weekend, man.
The
What
first
a weekend for sports, man.
Oh yeah, hell of a weekend for sports. The first 4 games are tonight. I think around 5. I want to say around 5:30 is when the first tip off is for tonight.
The play-in games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think, man, these. What do you think of these playing games, man? I'm excited, man. These teams are playing for a chance in the tournament. I mean, doesn't get much better than that, man. These teams are going to be playing with all their heart, man.
Yeah, I don't know much about this Norfolk State or App State. And the only reason I know who App State is because they upset Michigan in football one year. And then I don't know much about Mount St. Mary's and this Texas Southern, but the 2 games out of the playing games that really catch my eye is Wichita State against Drake. And Drake's getting one of their players back. Can't think of his name, but he's a player that's been averaging like 14 points a game. He'd been out, and he's gotten cleared to come back and play. He'd been out the last couple of weeks. And then you have the Michigan State and UCLA game. I'm real interested in them 2 games. I think both them games have potential to be real good. Oh, I lost him somehow. What the heck? I was talking to him and he ain't even there. I don't know how that happened.
Your account is not authorized to make calls to this phone number. If you would like to have additional capabilities added to your account, please call customer service.
Su cuenta no está autorizada para ser.
Oh, crap. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, he'll call back. But yeah, I'm real interested in this because Drake, I mean, they were undefeated for a long time. And I think they're toward the end of the year, they lost a couple games. And then once they got going, it was a totally different story. I have no understanding why he just hung up or what happened with getting disconnected from Steve. We're having a little bit of difficulty. Hopefully we can get him back on here in a second.
Your account is...
Nope, he's having some kind of troubles. So yeah, he'll give me a call back here in a minute when he can. Yeah, but so like we were talking, tonight's the first 4. You got the playing games for that, and then tomorrow Friday we get start the first round of the tournament. There's going to be a bunch of good games on all day Friday, all day Saturday. You have games on, and they play Sunday and Monday. Plus, if you're a wrestling fan like we are, the college wrestling national championships are this weekend, starting today and go through Saturday. So this is a big sports weekend. There's still some NBA stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff out there for sports fans to. If you want to watch sports, there's a lot of stuff out there you can find and watch. It's ought to be a great weekend. Hopefully we have some nice weather here in Indiana. It's been kind of nice the last couple of days, but then I heard it's supposed to get cold here in the next couple of days. It was raining earlier. Hopefully that rain gets out of here, get a little bit of sun, get some new stuff going. That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, still having difficulty, so I don't think Steve is going to join us back. I appreciate you guys listening. Like I said before, if there's something you guys want to hear us talk about or you have any suggestions for the show, feel free to contact us on Twitter at Gonzo Sports Room. You can contact us on Facebook at Gonzo Sports Room or at Gonzalez Sports. We're on Instagram at Gonzalez or Gonzo Sports Room. You can also, there's quite a few ways you can contact us there. And then you can also contact us by email at gonzalezsportsinc@gmail.com. Feel free to, you can send messages there if you want to contact us. I mean, we have a lot of stuff going on. Plan on putting out a lot more stuff. We appreciate you guys for all your support. But if you want to hear the audio version, you can find our podcast on Spotify, on Anchor Podcast, Breaker Audio, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public. We'll be on more platforms here soon. You can find us on YouTube at Gonzo Sports Room. Like I said, you can get us on Twitter, or Instagram, any of the social media. I'm sure we'll be back on here probably either later this evening or Friday. And I know we'll be on here over the weekend to recap all this big weekend of sports. Thanks for listening. See you later. Peace.